I was the best player in the world until fate presented me with an unexpected challenge. I am Marco van Basten, and today I will share the behind-the-scenes story of a journey that, at the height of greatness, took an unimaginable turn. Join me as I reveal the paths that led me to an early retirement, a twist that would forever change the story of the best in the world. My journey in football began on the streets of Utrecht, the city that would shape my destiny. I was born on October 31st, 1964, and from an early age, the passion for the sport coursed through my veins. Utrecht, with its vibrant streets and makeshift fields, became my first playground. Growing up there was all about living and breathing football. Under the Dutch sky, often barefoot, I would dribble past imaginary obstacles, dreaming of one day performing those moves in a packed stadium. The ball was my companion during endless afternoons of passionate play. The simplicity of the local fields shaped my style, becoming the foundation of my journey. Utrecht, with its streets full of stories, was where my love for football blossomed. As the years went by, joining local clubs marked a new phase. Practices became opportunities for growth and evolution. Sunny afternoons were like laboratories where my skills were honed. Then a European giant noticed me, Ajax. Moving from my hometown to the talent academy was a leap of faith. Here on every pitch, I faced bigger challenges and fierce competition to impress the club's technical staff. But beyond that, I saw the opportunity to become more than just a player. The trial was the starting point, but Ajax would become the place where my destiny would be forged, marking a crucial step in building my football legacy. The year was 1981, and my debut for Ajax felt like diving into uncharted waters. At just 17 years old, I faced the challenge of standing out in a team already renowned for nurturing young talent. It was a promising start, full of promises and expectations. That season, my goal-scoring rate quickly became a hot topic in newspapers across the country. Scoring 14 goals in 22 Dutch league matches, I not only established myself as a formidable striker, but also as one of the youngest and most promising scorers in the world. Each goal was a statement that the boy from Utrecht was destined to leave a lasting mark. The European competitions also tested my skill and determination. In the UEFA Cup, I contributed with crucial goals that helped Ajax advance to the later stages of the tournament. It was just a glimpse of the international stage, where my playing style began to resonate beyond Dutch borders. My early experiences at Ajax were not just about statistics, but also about proving that I could shine on the professional stage. It was the beginning of a journey marked by individual successes and vital contributions to the team, preparing me for what was to come. During my glory years at Ajax, I lifted trophies that remain etched in the memories of my fans. I raised the Dutch League trophy 3 times, proving that Ajax was more than just a club. It was a dominant force of its era. Additionally, I won the KNVB Cup twice, but it didn't stop there. I also claimed the Dutch Super Cup in 1983 and 1985. Each title was not just an achievement, it was the result of the sweat, dedication, and passion I put into each match. While collecting team trophies, I won my first individual achievement, the Golden Boot. In 1985, I was honored as the top scorer in European championships. These accomplishments did not go unnoticed. Titles and awards caught the attention of another European giant, Milan. Thus, my time at Ajax ended as more than just a victorious chapter. It was a symphony of victories that still resonates today, fueling the passion I've always shared with my fans around the world. I was at the peak of my form at Ajax, having scored 152 goals in 172 games for the Dutch club. But I felt that I needed a new challenge, a new adventure. That's when Milan, a European giant, showed interest in me and my national team teammate Ruud Gullit. It was a unique opportunity to play in one of the best leagues in the world, alongside great players like Franco Baresi and Paolo Maldini and Carlo Ancelotti. I didn't hesitate to accept the offer, and in 1987 I moved to Italy, ready to wear the Rossonera shirt. But my arrival at Milan was not what I expected. I faced a reality that was different from what I was used to at Ajax. Italian football was more defensive, more physical, more tactical. I had to adapt to a new style of play, a new language, a new culture. It wasn't easy. I felt like a stranger. To make matters worse, I struggled with an ankle injury that plagued me throughout the entire season. I experienced constant pain. It prevented me from training and playing regularly. I only managed to play 11 matches in my first season, scoring 3 goals. It was a frustration for me, as I was used to being the star at Ajax. I felt powerless, useless, and frustrated. I watched my team shine without me. Milan had a fantastic season, winning their first Scudetto in 8 years with an impressive campaign. Milan also reached the semi-finals of the European Cup, but was eliminated by Real Madrid. I was happy for the collective success, but I felt excluded, marginalized, and forgotten. I knew I had to change this situation. I knew I had to work hard to regain my form, my confidence, and my place in the club. And I was determined to do so in the next season. The 1988-1989 season was a turning point in my career. After a difficult year, I was determined to regain my place at Milan and prove my worth. I worked hard in training, strengthened my ankle, and waited for my chance to shine again. And it came quickly. First in the biggest European national team competition, the European Championship, and then in the opening match of the Italian League against Como. It was a relief, a joy, and a redemption. I was finally back. From that point on, I never left the starting lineup. I formed a fearsome attacking duo with Ruud Gullit, my international teammate. Together we scored 35 goals in the league, leading Milan to second place, just behind Inter Milan. But our biggest goal was the European Cup, the most prestigious competition in Europe. I wanted to win that trophy Milan hadn't lifted since 1969. I wanted to make history. We faced Real Madrid, Red Star and Rosenborg. We won all the games, with a standout 5-0 victory over Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu, where I scored 2 goals. We advanced to the semi-finals with the best record in the competition. In the semi-finals, we faced Real Madrid again, this time in a 2-legged tie. We won the first match in Milan 2-0 and drew the second match in Madrid 1-1. The final was against Steaua Bucharest from Romania at the iconic Camp Nou in Barcelona. It was the most important match of my life. I was anxious, nervous, but also confident. I knew we had a great team and that we could win. And we did, in spectacular fashion. We dominated the game from start to finish and thrashed Steaua 4-0. I scored the first and third goals, one with a header and the other with a volley, and I was named the best player of the match. Gullit and Frank Rijkaard also scored, completing the Dutch celebration at Milan. We lifted the European Cup, and I felt an indescribable emotion. I had realized my dream. The boy from Utrecht was a European champion. It was a magical moment I will never forget. I had overcome the injury, the adaptation, and the pressure that had been on me. And I had reached the top of Europe. I had proven to myself, to my club, to my country, and to the world that I was one of the best players in history. But it didn't stop there. At the end of the year, I received the greatest individual honor a player could have. I was named the best player in the world and won my first Ballon d'Or. It was the recognition of my work, my effort. It was the crowning achievement of an incredible season that marked my comeback. The 1989-90 season was the confirmation of my status as the best player in the world. After winning the Ballon d'Or in 1989, I wanted to maintain that high level and continue making history at Milan. I felt confident, motivated and happy. I had the support of coach Arrigo Sacchi, who gave me the freedom and confidence to play more naturally. This was made possible by the great players I had alongside me. In the Italian league, we had a strong campaign, but once again we came close and finished second, behind Maradona's Napoli, who were our main rivals at the time. We lost the title by just 2 points, but we didn't get discouraged. We knew once again that our main goal was to win the European Cup, the competition we had dominated the previous season, and we dominated once more. In the group stage, we faced the same opponents as the previous season. We won all the matches. Notably, we had a 5-0 thrashing of Real Madrid at San Siro, where I scored a goal. We advanced to the semi-finals with the best campaign in the competition. Once again, it felt almost like déjà vu. In the semi-finals, we faced the powerful Bayern Munich. We won the first leg in Munich 1-0 with a goal from Carlo Ancelotti. In the second leg in Milan, we held on until the end and drew 0-0. We qualified for the final with an aggregate score of 1-0. The final was against Benfica from Portugal at the Prater Stadion in Vienna. It was the same stadium where I had made my debut for Milan 3 years earlier. It was a good memory, but also an opportunity to reaffirm our supremacy in Europe. We won 1-0 against Benfica with a goal from Rijkaard in the 67th minute. It was a balanced game, but we were more efficient and intelligent. We controlled the game and didn't give Benfica any chances. We lifted the Champions League trophy again, and I felt that great emotion again. I had realized my dream once more, twice. It was a magical moment I will never forget. I had won the European Cup for the second time, a rare achievement. Later, I was named the best player in the world for the second consecutive time. I had made history again with the great campaign and season of the past years. Something gave me even more motivation to continue playing at the same high level as always. The 1990 World Cup was one of the biggest disappointments of my career. After being named the best player in the world twice, I was excited to play in the biggest tournament on the planet and to try to lead the Netherlands to its first ever title. I had confidence and experience. Alongside me were great players like Ruud Gullit, Frank Rijkaard and Ronald Koeman, who were also more excited than ever. It was a strong team. We had everything to make a great campaign in that World Cup, but we didn't. We were drawn into Group F alongside England, Ireland and Egypt. We expected to win our matches, but that's not what happened. We drew all 3 games. We advanced to the knockout stage by luck, but from then on we didn't convince. We played poorly, lacking creativity and chemistry without the spark we used to have. We disappointed our country, which expected more from us. We knew it would be a tough game, but we also knew we were capable of winning. We wanted to prove ourselves and show that we were better than them, but it all ended there. We lost the match 2-1. It was a tense game filled with fouls, provocations and red cards. We were eliminated from the World Cup in the first knockout round, and I felt a huge sense of frustration. I had lost the chance to win the world title, which is every football player's greatest dream. It was a sad moment I will never forget. I had been named the best player in the world twice, but I hadn't managed to take the Netherlands to the top of the world. I had failed in the World Cup, and I knew that was a failure in my career. The year 1991 was marked by another ankle injury, which kept me off the field for almost the entire season. I only played 11 matches for Milan. It was a difficult period, filled with a lot of pain and frustration. I had to undergo surgery, but it didn't solve the problem. I knew that my ankle would never be the same, and that my career was at risk, but I didn't give up. I dedicated myself to recover recovery with a lot of physiotherapy and exercises. I wanted to play again, to do what I loved most. I wanted to prove that I could be the best in the world. The year 1992 was the year of my redemption. Even though my ankle wasn't 100%, I returned to playing at a high level. I was the top scorer in the Italian league with 25 goals in 31 games. The first Scudetto with a completely unbeaten campaign. That same year, I was also the top scorer of the European Cup with an incredible 13 goals in 11 matches. I helped Milan reach the final of the competition against Barcelona, but unfortunately, I was left out of the final match due to a suspension. Milan played well, but in the end, they lost 1-0 to the Spanish club. But I was proud of my team and very happy with my season, even though I wasn't at 100% of my ability. For the Dutch national team, I was called up for the 1992 European Championship in Sweden. We were the reigning champions and a big favorite to win the title again. I scored 4 goals in 5 games, including 2 in the semi-final against Denmark, which ended 2-2. In the penalty shootout, I successfully converted my kick, but the Netherlands ended up losing 5-4 in the penalty shootout. It was a disappointment, as Denmark would later go on to become the champions, dethroning the Dutch team. Overall that season, I scored an impressive 38 goals in 42 matches. With Milan, I won the Italian league that year. We reached the final of the European Cup, and with the national team, we reached the semi-finals of the European Championship. Even though I only won 1 title, it was an incredible season. At the end of the year, I was once again crowned the best player in the world, and I lifted the coveted Ballon d'Or for the 3rd time in my career, the prize that everyone dreams of. It was an achievement few players had managed at that time. I felt proud for having endured and overcome the pain, proving my resilience and determination. That haunted me during that difficult year, and also for having returned to being a standout in Europe. I had won the Ballon d'Or for the 3rd time, and I knew that this would be a milestone in football history, lasting even to this day. The year 1993 was the year of my tragic ankle injury, which kept me off the field for almost 2 years, and would later end my career as the reigning best player in the world. It was a devastating year, full of pain and suffering. I'd started the season well, scoring 13 goals in 11 games for Milan and helping the club reach the Champions League final. I had also scored 2 goals for the Dutch national team in the qualifiers for the 1994 World Cup. The tournament I was willing to give my all to win. I was in great shape and confident about achieving success there. But everything changed in May 1993 when I suffered an ankle injury during the big game against Olympique Marseille in the Champions League final. I felt a sharp pain and I could barely put weight on my foot. Unfortunately, I had to be substituted in the first half. Milan was shaken and lost the match 1-0. It was our chance to win the Champions League again, but everything changed so quickly. I underwent ankle surgery, but it didn't solve the problem. I had to stay away from the field for almost 2 years. I did everything I could to recover, with a lot of physiotherapy and exercise. I was suffering a lot, both physically and mentally. I watched my club and my national team play without me, and I felt useless and distressed. I tried to return to playing, but I couldn't. My ankle was never the same again. It didn't respond like it used to. I had to accept the harsh reality. I was no longer able to play at a high level. It was then, in August 1995, that I decided to end my football career at the age of 30. It was a sad moment that I will never forget. I'd been 3 times the best player in the world. I'd scored 306 goals in 438 games. Twice I won the Champions League. 3 times I was champion of the Dutch League. 3 times the Italian Championship. Twice the Coppa Italia, 2 UEFA Super Cups, and twice the Intercontinental Cup. I had ended my career as the current best player in the world at the age of 28 in a Champions League final. It was a premature end that I didn't deserve. I was one of the greatest players in history, but I couldn't play until the end. A football genius, a victim of a cruel injury. I am Marco van Basten, and this was my story, my legacy, and my tragic end.